So if you have health care through your employer, you don't need Obamacare, right? Remember when the president said this about that?
If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period.
But already in the past several months, more than 300 American companies say they will discontinue their health plan for their employers. So what happens in the future? Will the employers, a big business in America, continue to pony up for your coverage? We're going to debate this now. Leslie Marshall, syndicated radio talk show host, David Webb, host of the David Webb Show on Sirius Radio. Both are Fox News contributors. And on the right, there is Ed Butowski. And Ed is the managing partner of Chapwood Capital Investment Management. And you're going to be the arbiter, Ed. So you sit tight for a moment while Dave and Leslie go at it. The premise is this: whether it's 2 years or 5 years, when companies have to be concerned about their bottom line, and they're paying all this money for their employers, and you know they have to keep the shareholders satisfied, do they reach a point where they say the health care stops, you're on your own, and now you go to the exchanges? When does that day arrive, Dave, if you believe it does?
It has already arrived for many employers, Bill, and what they have to do is companies are responsible for being in business. Therefore, they make decisions based on financial concerns in large part. And it's not just Obamacare. It's a bad recovery, an almost non-existent recovery, a bad economy, taxation, federal taxes, local and state taxes. So they look at a big picture and say, where do I save money?
So you believe then the companies are going to let their employers go at some point?
They have to make these decisions because they have to survive.
Do you believe that is the future for American business when it comes to health care?
Well, I believed David and agreed with him for the first part of his sentence, which is companies have been doing this for years. This does not have to do with Obamacare. For example, I'm an owner of a company. I have Blue Cross for my employees. I've switched up the plans a couple of times as the demographic of my employee population changes, and certainly regarding the bottom line. How many times do we remember back years ago when corporations chose HMOs over the PPOs and other private insurances because they were cheaper? And so this does not change.
You believe that?
Hang
on one second. Hang on, Dave. Leslie, you believe in a word that the answer is yes, then? That Americans will be forced to go to the exchanges?
But that's been happening since Adam and Eve with
Dave,
private corporations in America.
Leslie's
That doesn't have to do with Obamacare.
what I said. Choice is the key word. Leslie used the word choice. Companies had choice before. Obamacare requires participation. Therefore, its effects are not just on the so-called targeted groups. That's the pixie dust principle with Obamacare, that this is how it's going to work. Companies are making choices because they have no choice due to the effects of Obamacare, and Americans are being forced to participate in commerce.
Leslie, quickly respond to that.
No, not at all. The bottom line, if you look at a company like Home Depot, for example, where they're moving their part-time employees, if you read the entire sentence, not off of their insurance and throwing them out in the cold, they are moving them to Obamacare. However, you have to remember that the average cost, even in a state like Florida, which is Governor Rick Scott's state that tried to up the money for those who are putting into Obamacare through those insurance companies in the state of Florida, still the average is $348 per person per month.
Well, we're going to see whether it's affordable to go. Hang on to both of you now, okay? Time to bring in the arbiter on this. The businessman, Ed, who's right, and what is the future for what people can expect now?
Well, first of all, I mean, there's very little argument that this is expensive to all businesses. And businesses, as David correctly pointed out, are judged based on profitability. There is something that happened years ago that is very similar to what is going to happen. We are going to see employers drop health care across the board, just like they dropped defined benefit plans. Prior to 1980, 95% of retirement plans were defined benefit plans. They became too expensive to companies. They dropped them, and they started bringing in 401k plans that are called defined contribution plans. So this will find a natural home. Constantly changing, but the bottom line is, David is absolutely spot on. This is going to be too expensive. We're going to see employers drop it across the board.
Hang on. Ed, I need to know. Hang on, Dave, please. Ed, is it 2 years? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? When does it happen?
It's going to start. It all depends on how quickly healthcare costs go up, and they're going up very quickly because of this healthcare kibbutz. That's basically what Obamacare is. It's everybody trying to play this game together, and the more expensive healthcare gets, the quicker companies are going to drop it. So it's a matter of how fast costs go up. 2, 3, 4 years. But I will tell you, we're going to see the majority of big companies drop healthcare if this continues down this path in the next 5 years.
These exchanges better be pretty good. Ed, thanks. David, thanks.
That's
Leslie,
right.
thanks to you as well. Terrific panel talking about that. We'll see you in time. Thanks to all of you.
Absolutely.